ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Jazz Lounge. Woo! Woohoo! Yeah! Who's here for the first time? The whole back row. And then these people have been here before. Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. These are very wonderful musicians. This guy I've played with for many, many years, and this guy for probably the past handful. Yeah, like maybe like 4 years. Yeah. So they're doing a tribute to some very good music, and they'll talk about that. But ladies and gentlemen, Gunnar Biggs and Shah.
Thank you guys so much. That was a tune called Alone Together. And if you guys have listened to Ron Carter and Jim Hall, that is the title of one of their albums. It's actually everyone knows of only that one, but there's a couple other ones. There's Live at Village West too. There's Telepathy. But yeah, we're gonna do a tribute to them tonight. So we're just gonna be kind of having some long conversations like that one, and just listening to each other and seeing what comes out. Right. Yeah. This is my good friend Gunnar Biggs on bass. He's a San Diego legend. Played for decades. So we're going to now move on to a Bill Evans tune called Waltz for Debbie. Hope you guys enjoy.
is our second gig
Ever.
ever. I feel like Crosby, Stills, and Nash at Woodstock, right? This is our first gig, and we're scared. But we did one other. Our other gig was a class at Mesa College, and sometimes that's a rough room to work too, because they're all music majors, and they're going, really? They did it that way? But and I mentioned this here. I've done a lot of duo playing over the years with pianists and guitarists, and that's all been a good experience. But usually it's I'm getting a backache. Usually it's a longer process of getting to know each other, because this is a conversation. You know, the two of us. It's very democratic. You don't have to argue with three other guys. No, we're gonna do this. We just kind of, and this really kind of just slotted right in. We'd done another quartet gig here actually, with David Borgo and a drummer, Kusha, and Alan Eicher on piano. Yeah, which is a whole different ballgame. Quintet is, something to deal with. But the duo thing, and this is just such a comfortable one-on-one relationship. And I hope you're hello over there. There's people over there. I hope you guys are getting that idea. A lot of this stuff is purposefully not rehearsed to death, so it gives you room to breathe and to talk to each other. So what we're doing here is letting you in on our conversation, as it were. And yeah, this is really fun, isn't it? Yeah. Does the sound okay out there? Okay, because
Is the guitar too loud? No. Okay, all right. It's too loud to hear about. Okay. I'll take your word for it.
here's a guitar player that asks if it's too loud. I love it. Usually it's
In that case, I'm gonna turn up.
11. Put it on 11. Yeah, that was a Bill Evans tune, Waltz for Debbie, that I've always had an affinity for, but it was really done differently, so I never really explored it as a tune that I did a lot, and it turns out to be Zoe's favorite tune of all time, right? So I hope I did justice to it. Okay. Next one's a Joe Beam tune, How Insensitive. We'll go into a Latin vein here.
Something like I don't know, something like that. Yeah, you want to count it? Thank you guys. That was a tune called Scrapple from the Apple, and it was kind of a workout. Especially because we chose to go double time on the last bridge for some reason. I don't know, it just kind of happened, and then somehow we ended up lining up, so okay. So yeah, we're doing a tribute to Jim Hall and Ron Carter. And one thing I told Gunnar when I started this project with him was I was saying I don't want to go in there and try to sound like Jim and Ron because I can't. But I think even Jim would be like, no, don't do that. Because I think when you listen to their albums, there's kind of what we're aiming for is the conversation of what's happening and a lot of musical interaction. And I was telling Gunnar, like, it's almost like the tunes we pick are kind of irrelevant. You know, it almost doesn't matter which tunes we pick because as long as the interaction is there, then we're going to capture that spirit. So that's what we're trying to do tonight, and I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're going to move on to a tune called I Hear a Rhapsody. It's a Gershwin tune. Thank you.
And if I can just add one thing to that, when he said we want to do a tribute to Jim and Ron, I thought, oh, I got to learn a lot of Ron Carter licks. And then I started thinking about it, and there's not anybody that plays either guitar or bass that hasn't been in some way, directly or indirectly, affected and influenced by those two gentlemen. They're two of the monster icons on bass and guitar. So I thought if we just took what we got from Jim and Ron, didn't take it out of context, but did it with integrity and honesty and the best we could, that's the best way we could do tribute to those two gentlemen, other than a tribute band, you know, Grateful Duds or something like that. You know, where you try to play it note for note. That was Jerry's solo, note for note, man. You know, that's not what we wanted to do. What we wanted to do was say, this is kind of what we learned as students of the history and the pantheon that these gentlemen were a part of. So I hope we're doing justice, and I think they would appreciate that we weren't doing it note for note, because that's a lot of notes to memorize it. adjusted. Okay. The question from the audience was that he noticed that I was mouthing when I was actually kind of singing. Could anybody hear? There was a little bit of vocal. Okay. The problem that I had as a younger player was that unlike a saxophone or a flute or a wind instrument, trumpet, we don't have to breathe into our horns to make the sound come out. So we tend to, I did anyway, play in run-on sentences, because I could just be doing anything I wanted to do over here, and I'm like looking around, and my hand just keeps going. So I was working with Charles McPherson, the alto saxophone player at the time, and he says, you know, your phrases are good, but they're not natural. He said, try singing with your solo, and when you run out of breath, stop playing. Take a breath, continue playing. It would be like if I took a breath after every, so what he said, just start out singing with yourself when you're practicing. Play scales and sing them with yourself. And I did that for a week, and I came back, and I played a gig with somebody else, and they go, what are you working on now? I said, why? He says, your phrases are completely different. They're longer, they're more melodic. I had gotten the fact that maybe I should be breathing. And it also put my body, see, that involves your body with playing the instrument when you're actually inhaling and exhaling in a natural way. So, and in fact, I've overdone it at times. I was on a recording session for when we were doing my album, and Peter Sprague was was recording it, and he stopped once. He goes, Gunnar, we need a little more bass and a little less Gunnar. Because sometimes I'm not the greatest singer in the world. So sometimes I was singing a little bit out of tune. And there are players like Keith Jarrett. Keith Jarrett kind of, and Elvin Jones, the drummer, he kind of quacks when he's playing. But what it does, it's a breathing thing. So that was very perceptive of you, Jesse, that I was, but I wasn't mouthing anything. My mouth was moving, but I was actually trying to sing the phrases with myself. And thank you for catching me on that. I'll try to control myself. And if you're a classical music fan, Glenn Gould, the classical pianist, was another one that you hear him in the background. Just and first time, yeah. Well, he would actually sing a part on these Bach pieces that wasn't written. It was another part, and it worked. So I'm not that good, but I'm talking too much. This is a Johnny Mandel tune called Emily. We'd like to thank Leonard and the Jazz Lounge and everybody held captive here tonight. No, really, thank you so much for coming out. I was worried anyway about the weather and the whole thing. We live in a really kind of golden area right here. If we go north just a little bit, you know, it's a whole different planet. So thank you for braving the elements that decided to be good to us tonight. So it's really a pleasure to play this music for an appreciative audience and with this new friend of mine, Shah on guitar.
Yeah, thanks so much to my new friend Gunnar Biggs. It's an honor to play with, you know, such great players in this town, and Gunnar is, you know, one of the top. So it's a privilege for me to be able to play with him. So, and thank you guys all so much for coming out. You know, I love playing at the Jazz Lounge. It's play here, like I can't remember how many times last year I played here, but it's one of my favorite places. So props to Leonard for making the space. We're gonna play one last one for you guys. It is "Autumn Leaves," which is one of the tunes that Ron and Jim did play together. So yeah, but we're gonna play it way different. So.
These guys are pretty amazing, right? Um, and I mean, it just it sounds so good in here. It's just like really, yeah. Um, so just a couple things that are happening next week. I want to tell you about on Wednesday and Thursday. Playtime with Matt and Leonard, Matt Falker, pianist, and myself. We're going to be doing a duo thing. I'll be singing and playing the cajon. He'll be playing piano and singing, and it's going to be a lot more conversation, like tonight. But there'll be a lot of vocal stuff happening, a lot of Bobby McFerrinish, Aldro-ish type stuff, spontaneous. So that's Wednesday and Thursday. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm really excited about this. My friend Kat Shoemaker, she's a wonderful pianist, and she's going to have her trio. But so anybody heard of the drummer Terry Lynn Carrington? She's pretty amazing. She's played with everybody. And she put together this book called New Standards. And it's basically compositions by females, newer compositions by female jazz composers. And her, she's been really advocating for, women in jazz. And so she put this together. So I was talking to Kat a while ago, and we're like, man, we got to, do something here. So she has a trio here. Now the trio, the trio that's playing are not female, but what she's gonna do is she's gonna do some tunes from that book. She's gonna do some original tunes, but on Sunday, it's gonna be the trio starting off doing a short set, but it's gonna be a jam session. And the jam session is everybody who plays has to play a song from the book. So she's getting tunes out. People are getting the book. She's actually buying the book and giving it to musicians for free. And so basically people are learning a tune to come sit in with on Sunday. So that's going to be very exciting, a new type of thing. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Sunday's the jam. Friday, Saturday, just her and the trio doing stuff. So, trying to do some different things here. Come back soon. Yeah. Be safe. God bless you all. And go Aztecs. Woo!